as overcome. We shall
The Freedom Drive is a campaign to the European Parliament, organised by the Centre for Independent Living and the European Network for Independent Living. CIL and ENIL work to promote equal rights for people with disabilities throughout Europe.
I think the Freedom Drive is a very, very good idea. And the father of the Freedom Drive, Martin Nocton, he certainly got a good idea, because the people who make it to come down here and enjoy these days with us, they get very tired, but they also get a very strong political energy that to meet people from other countries who struggle with the same stuff or who struggle much more than us.
There was a real buzz that this time was different, and that this is something that's here to stay for at least another 10 or 15 years. So it was Strasbourg number 3, but probably Strasbourg number 3 off Strasbourg number 20, you know.
Here we are in Strasbourg 2007 again, after the first Strasbourg Freedom Drive of 2003. So 4 years on, what's happened? A lot has happened in some respects, because when we came in 2003, which is the European Year of Disabled People, independent living and personal assistance were not on the agenda. But now, 2007, they are on the agenda. And now the Council of Europe, in its Disability Action Plan, and the European Commission with its Disability Action Plan, both have independent living right at the core of those disability action plans. So in a sense, we've come some way in that independent living now is in the major policies of the European Parliament and the European Commission. Our main goal really is to make sure that that rhetoric, that policy, that language that is written down as a policy becomes reality, so disabled people on an everyday basis can have their lives changed.
Our meeting this time in Strasbourg is a very important event for all people with disability all around Europe, because it's a fantastic possibility for networking, for meeting people, for exchanging ideas.
Travel for a couple of days to get here to Strasbourg, really, and I think the 2 days have been very successful, also very tiring as well for us, and over 200 people came here, and last time around we had only over 100. This time we have 200 people from as far as Bulgaria, Norway, Sweden, Germany, Ireland, Great Britain, etc. So that was great. 14 countries in total. That was excellent, really.
His wounds bleed, and he looks at the crowd on the TV news with their wheelchairs, their sticks, and their guides. They are rising banners, they are missing on pity, and they celebrate difference with pride.
Der deutsche Abgeordnetenkopf ist, glaube ich, Vizepräsident.
Throughout Europe, disabled people have been isolated and alienated from their society. People with disabilities have essentially been confined to institutions which have been compared to a system similar to that of imprisonment.
Brothers and sisters, fellow citizens of Europe, time has come. Hundreds of thousands of institutionalized persons with disabilities throughout Europe doesn't have the choice, or the choices, the choice of what to eat for breakfast, or when to visit the toilet, didn't even grow up in their families, isn't able to use public transport, doesn't have equal rights to access public goods and services, lacks access to proper personal assistance, and still isn't employed in line with their education and skills, and today still doesn't experience the fundamentals of independent living.
There have been many reports which happen in institutions, ranging from keeping people in cage beds, using unmodified electroshock therapy on people, also sexual and physical abuse by the other residents and by the staff themselves. In the European Coalition for Community Living and ENIL, we try to get across the point that just the fact that people are in institutions is also a human rights abuse in itself.
Much time it has to take to get everybody out to have their own independent living. If it takes for 7 years, I will coming back and back and back till everybody is free.
Disabled people face restrictions on a daily basis. The right to a personal assistant is vital for many disabled people to live independently within their own communities.
Self-determination and an independent way of living became an accepted value that is established in social legislation. The employer model of personal assistance responds most to all the individual requirements of people with disability. This model allows the disabled people to be the employer of his or her own personal assistants. It is therefore preferred by many disabled people, but in practice just hesitantly granted. To achieve a lasting improvement for people with disabilities in Europe, we demand the expansion of the employer model of personal assistance. Furthermore, appropriate lodging, disadvantage balancing, equal rights training programs for people with disabilities, access to the common labour market, as well as accessible public transport.
I think but all the things about independent living are very important that we put forward. But the most important, I think, highlight has to be personal assistance. If we haven't got assistance, we can do none.
A small bit of help can make such a huge amount of difference to a person with a disability. And I think it's ironic that one of our members, or one of your own members probably, Kenny Kilduff, contacted me today to apologise he couldn't get here because he hadn't a PA. I mean, in this day and age, it's unbelievable that, you know, resources are cut so fine that an individual can't actually do as he chooses.
Because Paddy assists me now, I can function much better than I could if I was on my own. If I didn't have Paddy here, I don't know what I'd do. I'd fall on my face, basically.
But, I mean, it's very simple things like, you know, any student can walk up to an academic department and ask questions about their course or whatever. I mean, I do a very simple thing, like I just bring Thomas to where he wants to go. And maybe then if I wasn't here, you know, there's no one to bring him from the office to there and back. And it might seem like a very simple thing, but if there's no PA, then Thomas is cut off from being able to access his learning.
There is no rise to a person assist service, home help services, and not personal assistance services. And HSE, I don't seem to understand this.
I work as a personal assistant in Ireland. Originally I'm from Bosnia. I'm also Don Bailey's PA. Well, in ideal circumstances, with the funding available, my job would include everything from assisting a person to get up from bed, with meals, with cooking, with cleaning, shopping, assistance on holidays, at work, everything in ideal circumstances. Many things that we take for granted that we don't have to plan for. My boss has to plan for all that. One thing that is very hard for me, from my point of view, is me being a foreigner. I don't really have, I can't be flexible in my job because I'm limited with work permit, which means that Don would miss many meetings in other countries because he doesn't have enough notice, because I have to get a visa, tourist visa, and it's also I'm limited with a return date. So if something unpredictable happens, that means I can be flexible.
No, I think we have to move even forward to see equal opportunities for everyone, and we need to have the personal assistance going system all over Europe, and we need to get all the people who are in the institutions out from the institutions. So that's the way we have to go further on. We need more legislation for all these systems and across the borders in all of Europe.
A key moment for the Freedom Drive was the presentation of a petition to the President of the European Parliament. It is of crucial importance that these demands become European policy and legislation if they are to translate into the reality of people with disabilities' everyday lives.
The main message is that we want independent living services, of course, and we want personal assistance, which is not easy to get in most European countries. So that's our main thing, and we need that because we don't want institutions anymore. We want all institutions to be built down, and that's a long way to go because there are plenty of people imprisoned in institutions. And we also want you to dedicate some of your European Union money to disabled people in overseas projects, which we think are very important to showing solidarity. We hope that the new UN Convention can help us to develop independent living services all over the world. Here is our statement to you.
Thank you very much. We believe in the dignity of all human beings, in what situation they may be. Everybody has the same dignity, and you mentioned solidarity, and this is very important. And so I will look into the papers and discuss with my colleagues what action we should take.
How can we continue this dialogue? Not only 2 years in 2 years' time to come back and say what has happened, but how can we continue? I think it's a continuous dialogue we should have. What is your suggestion? How can we do?
No, I think you share a working group, don't you?
Yes.
We have an intergroup.
An intergroup dealing with the question. And I think there must be a dialogue in the working group. How to proceed. I am not an expert on that, but I'm willing to accept good proposals.
Herr President, you must give some priority to the work of the intergroup, right? And you must challenge your intergroup. You must challenge your intergroup to be even more active and more far-seeing, right? And because we have to give leadership to many member countries of Europe, right? Because sometimes a stick is not enough. We must show people the way, and that's what we try to do in our movement. We try to show the way of independent living to countries, particularly the new accession countries. And we need the support, but we need you to support the intergroup and to prioritize their recommendations and their work and so forth.
Thank you so much.
I think changes are getting very slowly everywhere. It depends mainly on the people's culture, people's attitude, the different traditions in different countries, and especially in Bulgaria, changes are big. This is a big challenge for all of us because we are fighting for personal assistance so many years, and we still don't have a right to make a choice by ourselves. That's why we are here, and we hope that this petition that we gave it to Mr. President of the European Union Parliament today, it will be forced more our politicians to make a real policy for us, for people with disabilities who really wanted to live independently.
This song's for the right to choose where we live. Oh, 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 oh. This song's for the right to choose how we live. Oh, 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 oh. It will attempt to show that the term human rights can be open to various interpretations, depending on...
They're gonna hate you if you don't act now. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh.
This song's for the right to choose your partner in sex. Oh, 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 oh. This song's for the right to decide what you're gonna do next. Oh, 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 oh. Tear down the walls. Tear down the walls of the nursing home. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. This song's for all the people who fought and died against the beast. Oh, 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 oh. This song's for the strength and pride that will increase. Oh, 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 oh. Tear down the wall. Tear down the walls of the nursing home. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Stop talking compromise. There's a war going on. Stop acting so surprised. You know what you've done. Stop feeling guilty. You gotta act upon what you know is justice. What you know is right. If you really agree with us, how do you sleep at night? Tear down the wall. For abuse and damage. Tear down the wall. For the drugs and cabbage. Tear down the walls for our children's lives.
The Freedom Drive draws on the commitment of many who believe that all people should enjoy the right to live independently. CIL and ENIL salute and acknowledge the valuable contribution of freedom drivers that have passed away.
There was great sadness we learned about the death of Sean Brennan, one of our most dynamic leaders for the last 10 or 15 years, and he'll be sadly missed when he's all out here.
We came to Strasbourg this year, the Sligo Centre for Independent Living, in dedication to Sean Brennan. He was our founder member. He fought for many years to bring the independent living movement to Sligo.
In 2009, the Freedom Drivers will be back on the road to the European Parliament, Court of Human Rights and the Council of Europe. The struggle for independent living is a long road to all our freedom. Our struggle and commitment for independent living will continue until we all have realised our political, social and economic rights.
It was quite an experience for me as a part of this Freedom Drive, starting from my house, which is in Sofia, together with another 19 Bulgarian disabled people in 4 vehicles, reaching Strasbourg and meeting that many diverse company of people with different impairments coming from all different countries, but actually all being Europeans and human beings fighting for the same things, which we don't have in Bulgaria, like independent living, personal assistance, and all this taken together enjoyable human rights.
It's just a fantastic event to be at. It really shows that we're determined for choice, control and independence.
We are the fastest growing minority in the world, and I find strength in meeting you all. I'm proud of us all, proud of our diversity, and proud of our fight for equal rights.
Access, access, united we're strong. We won't go away because we know you're wrong. Access, access, you've had your way too long. We're here and we're gonna stay. You closed all the streets, the shitters out of town. You tried to give us sweets as you took away our ground. We don't want treats as the lights are going down. What we want is access now. Access, access, demonstrate your rights. You got a right to be here, you got a right to fight. restaurants, your sleazy nightclubs. The balloon's gone up, and now it's down to earth. What we want is access now. Free the city, free the town, we basic rights to be around. Demonstrate, get out today. Don't let them take your rights away. Access, access, don't segregate. No triple-free zone and no apartheid. Access, access, no shut gate. We're here and we're gonna stay. You say your public toilets and trains and buses too, but when you say public, you only mean you. We're members of the public and we got rights too. What we want is access.